Today we're going to be talking about very, very exciting and interesting topic. Debt consolidation. Just to let you know, stay with us till the end of the video. End of the video, we're going to be giving you the checklist that you have to kind of have to ask when you're going to be looking to do debt consolidation, plus a very important note.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll start. What is the debt consolidation?
What
Overall, you take, if you have bunch of small loans, credit cards, maybe some higher cell phone bills, maybe some medical bills, whatever it is, and you're paying 5 different, companies, creditors, whatever it is, and you just want to make your life easier, put them all together and just do one payment so you don't forget and you don't start going nuts, seeing a bunch of transactions in your bank account, just money pulling out of it, people pulling money out of it. That's what debt consolidation overall good for.
So yes, this debt consolidation is just an easy way to put all your small debt that you have all over the place and put it in one big bucket. So you just move from many sources to one big bucket. And for this, what you do, you create kind of a contract, an agreement with the company, and you set a specific payment every month with a specific interest rate, and it's a fixed payment for a specific amount of years or month, like it's a specific period. It's very different from credit cards.
Yeah, so make sure that you understand that if now you pay on your credit card $500, next day you put $100, next month you put $250, it's not like that. It's going to be a fixed amount. Yeah. So usually would recommend to people that they know that they making specific income every month, so you will be sure you can pay off the amount every month because it's not going to be fluctuating.
Yeah, and the other thing that we also got a question about, what is the interest rate of this kind of loans? Well, we want you to be very clear of interest rate is different to the APR. The APR means annual percentage rate. That includes the interest plus any other fees that these companies have, like maintenance fees and all the extra
transfer fees, whatever
all the extra cost. So they put it as a APR. So then for you will be easier to compare with other companies. That's why they show this. So that's why they say no hidden fees, because they had to show it in the APR, right? So the APR can be from 5% to...
We've seen it up to 36%.
Yes.
And so they're just going to show you, okay, our loans, they're, let's say, from 7 to 28. For you to actually know what you're eligible for, you cannot just come and ask them. You'll have to do application with them. They will have to look at your credit score. And also, they're going to look what is the amount of your loans. Because there's some companies, they don't want to finance to do this consolidation for $1,000. For $5,000, they would like to see more. So they will be looking at this. Plus, your credit score is going to really determine what's going to be your interest rate. Mm-hmm. So, of course, the lower your credit score, the higher your interest rate will be. So the assumption that debt consolidation going to save you money and make all your problems go away, that's not the case, because it might be very, very high, even higher from what you're paying. So what we suggest, make sure you take all your loans, you make a list, and you see exactly how much you pay on each loan. So whenever you talk to somebody about your debt consolidation, you can see, is it worth it for you or it's not?
Yeah. And this APR, again, it's based on what kind of debt you are trying to consolidate, your credit score, and many other parameters that they don't talk about, but they even check if you are single, if you're married, if you have a degree and all this stuff. They will check of everything, and then they will say, okay, this is your interest rate or APR. And they will not tell you until you apply. That's the problem. They will say, oh yeah, we have from the minimum you can get is 5%. But then they will say, well, considering your situation and how risky you are, we are giving you 36%, right? So you don't know until you apply. That's the tricky thing. We already talked about what it is the debt consolidation, and now we will tell you some very specific checklists that you need to follow whenever you check for this possibility, and some also very important insights that you need to consider, because we are not here to tell you no, don't do it, or yes, do it. You make your own decision. You are a grown-up. You take decisions of your own life, however you want to build your life. But what we want is you to take very informed decisions
So
that
you
nobody
have all
will
the
take advantage.
tools to
Yeah.
know what things you need to ask, what you need to do, so you can decide for yourself. Is it good for you or it's bad for you?
Yes.
And overall, just so you know that this, again, like Kate said, it's take bunch of small buckets and pour them into one big bucket. And that's what loan consolidation. So it doesn't, debt consolidation. So it doesn't mean it's going to give you this fake freedom illusion. It's not freedom.
It's
You
not
still
freedom.
owe money. And you need to understand that when they tell you that, it's going to look very appealing. Because let's say you have 3 payments right now. You paying 3 with change on all of them. So let's say $1,000 a month. They're going to tell you, we can reduce your $1,000 a month to $600 a month. Does it sound great? Yes, it sounds fantastic. Where do I sign? But what you need to remember that even if the interest rate a little bit lower than your current loans, and even if the payment lower, it only means that they're going to spread it for longer term. So if your debts currently are 2 years loan, 1.5 year loan, if you're going to do debt consolidation and they're going to reduce your payment, it's going to maybe move you to 5 years, which means you're going to be paying it much longer. And at the end of the term, you're going to pay much more interest. So this is very important key part that people forget when they see, oh, this is great. My payment is going to be like almost slashed to half. Where do I sign? Just make sure that you understand it, that you're going to be paying more years. And then at the end of the term, you're going to pay more interest. And usually all this debt consolidation, they're going to show you an entry interest rate. Okay, we're going to start you off at 10%. And then suddenly year into the loan, it's going to jump much higher. Yeah.
So there are a lot of little questions that we will give you at the end of this video, a list of things that you need to consider. So if you want to write them down, good for you. Take a pen and make sure you ask these questions, and you know before you sign any paper, you know exactly the answer to each question, and you are making a decision, well-informed decision, that they are not trying to fool you, because they will make it look super beautiful, and they will always compare the payments. That's the strategy they use. They compare the payments, so then you see, oh, very low payment.
This is great.
But they try not to show you the other part. How much is the APR, like the interest plus the fees plus everything, and how long it will take you. Because as Val said, you might take like 1 year to pay your loan. You don't know, because you never have take the time to say, okay, I have this much debt, and if I pay this much every month, I will end up paying it in 1 year. If you take time to check, you might say, oh, maybe less than a year. But if you go to these companies, Consolidation, they will say, okay, you can pay half of the price or even less than your payments, but you will pay it in 5 years. So they will kind of tell you the 5 years very quick.
Yeah. So you won't hear it even.
Yeah, but they will be very specific on these very low payments. So make sure you are comparing apples with apples and don't get
Too excited too fast.
Yeah.
Just think and see what's best for you.
And-
So first question would be, what is the minimum debt that I can consolidate? Again, if you have a bunch of small debts, but they all come to maybe 1,000, 2,000, maybe it's not going to be worth for them, and they say, hey, this amount is too low, so we're not going to be doing business with you. Some places they would ask 5,000 minimum, 10,000, 20,000. It all depends on what kind of company you're doing it with and how long you want to do it and what is your debt. So make sure you ask in that.
Yeah.
The second one, it's what is the APR? How much it's going to cost you after the first year or second year. So make sure if it's a set, so you know it's a set for the whole term, and make sure you know the term. So if it's for 4 years, you know your interest rate for 4 years is 10%, and not 10% the first year, and then it jumped to 25.
Yeah.
So make sure you ask that. This is probably one of kind of crucial things to know.
Yeah.
Okay, next one. How much is the fee for the debt transfer? So the APR, it will include kind of all the fees in it. But still, you really want to know how much it will cost you, because then it will allow you to do more thoughtful decision. Because if you know it's going to cost you $1,000 to transfer all your debt, is it really worth it? Or it's much better just to get an extra job in the evening and just pay off your debt faster, which we do, and we're telling you you should do the same. But again, if you're in a situation you just have to do it, totally understand, because it's really going to reduce your payment probably. But yeah, make sure you ask that so you can do well-informed decision when you
because when you ask specifically about the fees, then they will say, okay, yeah, but it's included in the APR. But you want them to tell me what's the fee, because what you are comparing now might be only your interest that you're paying, but they might have some fees on transferring all that money to their big bucket. So might be super costly, and they will not tell you that. They will just kind of hide it in the interest percentage. So then when you spread it in these 5 years, it doesn't feel like painful, or you don't feel it. But when you understand that you are paying this big fee just to transfer from many buckets to one big bucket, you are like, maybe I shouldn't be.
Yeah, is it really worth maybe it's just better to have the headache and continue paying.
Yeah.
Again, depend on your situation. If you cannot handle this many loans, maybe it will be worth it. But if you think if you can handle your loans, don't go into it. Yeah. Because again, there's going to be fees and a lot of things involved in that. Okay, next one. Loan term, again, for how long? And what happens if you want to pay earlier? Can you put some lump sum payments if you got your taxes returned, if, I don't know, your grandma gave you some money and you're like, all right, I have some extra money to throw there. And also what happens in case you miss a payment. If you cannot make the payment, what's going to happen? Are you going to be charged like crazy fees? Is this okay? If this is allowed to miss couple payments or pay a little bit lower than, let's say, your fixed payment 500, what if I have only 400 this month? Would they be okay with that, or it's like a no-no?
There are a lot of fees on, like very big fees in the late payments. So make sure you understand how much you will pay. Even if you are 1 day late, they will just
the fee will be right there.
The fee will
waiting
be there
for you.
So make sure you understand how much is the late payment fee, because that will be not included in the APR.
Yep. Next question, what kind of debt do you cover? So we mentioned it briefly before. Some places you're gonna say I just have some cell phone bills that I need to pay. They don't really want to deal with you. So ask exactly what kind of debts you can put in there, and make sure again from the list that you made for yourself what kind of debts you have, what are the interest rates for the debts. See, maybe some debts you don't want to put there. Maybe you have some debts at 7% and they offer you 10%. So maybe the debt at 7%, you don't want to put it together. Just pay it separately, again, because you're paying lower interest rate. And then just tell them the ones that you want to put in.
Yeah.
So again, things like credit cards, like your debt on medical expenses, whatever it is. So yeah, make sure that they'll be able to cover it and to consolidate all the debts that you want to put in there.
Make sure you have the power to decide which loans you want to consolidate. No, they tell you, okay, you can put this one and that one, and they will take some of them that are like 5% or I don't know, 4%, and you will say, okay. Just make sure you know what you have, what is the interest rate of each of them, and make sure you say, okay, I want to put only these ones that are super expensive. Expensive means like you are paying too much interest on your debt. If you are paying a little bit of interest, don't even try to consolidate, because that's not worth it.
Yeah, you're gonna be losing money in the long term. Again, it's gonna sound very appealing, the small payment, but you don't want to go there. And so now this is pretty much all the questions you need to consider before you go in. You kind of need to know what the answer for this in your head, what you're okay with, what you're not. And couple more very important notes. Whatever brought you the first time to think about your debt consolidation, you have to make sure to avoid it, because then you consolidated the debt, it's not going to change your behavior. So if your behavior brought to this, I'm not talking about something like medical you had to do. I'm talking about something like I had to have this dress or I had to have this car. If something like that brought you to that, make sure while you're doing the debt consolidation, you're also working on yourself and how to make sure not to get to the shoes again. So what is the best way to do that? Whatever credit card you have, let's say you want to consolidate 3-4 credit cards. You take those credit cards, you burn them.
Yes.
You don't use them again. You give them to your sister. No, maybe not a good idea.
Not a good idea.
Not to your wife neither.
Burn them.
You burn them, you bury them, you forget about them. That's it. But do not cancel these accounts. Because if you cancel your credit card, all your credit history that you build with that credit card is just going to disappear. So you don't want to do that. You just want to cut them.
Yeah,
you just want to make sure you don't use them anymore.
Your credit score will be lower if you cancel them, because now in the credit score will appear like they are paid, like they are debts that were paid off. So that will help your credit score. But if you cancel them, they will disappear from your credit score, and that will make it lower again.
Yeah, so you don't want to do that.
And again, we want you to understand this. This debt consolidation is not a
freedom relief.
Freedom relief. It's not that you are paying your debt. It looks like you will pay your credit cards, because they will look zero debt.
They're like, yeah, shopping spree. Where is the mall? Oh, it's closed. Sorry. Hey, you still have Amazon. Don't go there.
No Amazon. No, the Prime, nothing. And it will look like you are free, like you paid your debt, right? And you will say, oh, I paid my debt. But you didn't. You just moved your debt from many buckets to one big bucket. You just move it around. You didn't pay it. So that's why we are telling you, if you have a bunch of credit cards and you decide to go with the consolidation, burn all of them. Don't cancel them, but just make sure you cannot use them anymore.
I know we're repeating ourselves, but this is the biggest issue.
Yeah.
If that's what brought you to this point, that consolidation not gonna save you. It may be ease you on your payments, and maybe life will look nice for a moment, but you need to make sure to get rid of it. And if there are months that you can prepay and it's allowed by your contract, make sure you prepay so you shorter the term as much as possible to reduce the interest rate in the upcoming years. So make sure you do that. Make sure you ask all the questions, burn your credit cards, not cancel them, and hopefully that will help you to make your decision if you should go into it or not. Again, if you have to, it might be an easier idea. If you don't have to, just better to avoid it altogether.
If you can't pay right now, pay how you are doing it. And if you see that you are paying too much interest, this is the best time ever that you can negotiate with your creditors. You can call them, you can contact them directly. You don't need an intermediary. You don't need somebody that is expert on debt consolidation. No, you can go and say, okay, this is the phone number from this credit card. I will call them and say, hey, I can't pay this debt. I need you to lower my interest rate. You have to say it like that. I need you to lower my interest rate. If they cannot do it, ask for the manager and say again, I will not be able to pay this if you don't lower my interest rate.
Yeah, for them, they don't want to lose their money. They still want you to pay. So you call them one time, you call them second time, you call their third time, and then you ask to talk to a manager, and somebody will help you along the way. So make sure you do that.
It's a pain in the knee. But in this case, you will become the pain in the knee for them until they say, okay, we will lower the interest rate.
We're lowering it. Just keep paying.
And then that's why they give you all these options. That consolidation is only for you to lower your interest rate. The cost, how much it costs to have this big debt. That's the only thing. That's the only solution. If is a real solution, they will say, okay, you are paying less interest than before. If you do all your calculation and you are sure that moving this money, this debt from all these little sources to one big debt, that might reduce your interest rate. Might. Because it's not always the case. But you can do it just contacting them directly.
Yeah, I like Sharon's comment. Really helpful advice of burning credit cards and not canceling them. I know we repeated. Thank you for saying that. It got to everybody. We want to make sure that everybody gonna take it in and remember. Burn them.
Yeah, burn them.
Don't cancel them. So burn them so you won't use them
again. It's not
again.
very good for the environment, depending how many credit cards you have. But burn them. Don't keep them in the drawer. Don't give it to your sister.
For that lazy evening that you having a beer or a glass of wine, they're like, let's buy something.
It's super easy. But also, one more thing that we want to make sure you understand before we finish this live video is that don't shop around. Don't go and apply to each company, because that will affect your credit score as well.
Yeah.
The more you apply for things, the lower your credit score. What that means that you will get higher and higher and higher interest rates. They will be saying, okay, you're too risky. And why they lower the score? Like, why if I'm just applying, right? This doesn't make sense. Why if I'm applying, they just go down my interest rate? No, my score, sorry. The credit score is kind of the history of all your moves, right? And if you apply for a loan here, and for some reason you didn't go
you
through
were not
it.
approved for that loan, the second time you apply, they'll be looking, hey, how come the first one they didn't want to approve you? You have some issue maybe.
Yeah.
And then they're not going to approve you. And plus they check in again your credit score, which is reduces every time.
So every time you apply for mortgage, you apply for any kind of loans, your interest that your keep saying
credit
interest,
score.
your credit score is going lower and lower and lower.
So do your research, because a lot of these companies, where you're doing the debt consolidation with, you can go online. They're gonna show you, are we doing smaller debts? Are we doing higher debts? So they will say we start from 5,000 to 30,000. Our term from 1 year to 7 years. So you can get some information before, and they will say, we're going to be working with people only with the credit score, FICO score, 600 and up. So you kind of already have an idea which one is the best for you. You know approximately how much debt you want to consolidate. So just before you start calling people and giving your application, do a little bit of research, see what's out there, try to qualify yourself which is the best for you, and then give them a call, talk, ask the questions, and then start see, okay, should I tell them, okay, let's do it, let's check, or should you go to see somebody else if you didn't like something?
So I think we cover everything. Thank you so much for watching. And if you have any extra question, if you are going around and reading the small letters there in the terms and conditions,
feel free to ask.
If you see, just take a screenshot and ask some questions. Say, I don't understand this. We can help you. We can help you with that. So
okay, stay safe. Enjoy your family at home. Have a great day. Enjoy the weekend, even if it feels like a weekend or just another day in your life. Enjoy it. Be happy, and we'll see you next Friday.